Hi, I'm Sheila Heelan, and welcome to the Happiness Series. Hi, welcome back to happinessseries.com. We're here again with the great Tony LeRoy. All right, last time we talked about happiness being a choice. How do we make that choice?
You know, we can choose to create happiness in so many different ways. Some of the ways that we can choose to create moments of happiness is to actually plan them out. Like, what makes you feel good? Sometimes we get bogged down with getting so caught in fear or getting caught in the anxiety, we forget that we can actually go to a movie. We forget that we can actually go do some yoga. We forget that we can actually say, I choose to take a step out of this moment and do something else. You know, one of the things that actually works really for me, and I love doing this, is serving. You know what I mean? Like doing any type of volunteer work or calling a neighbor that you know may need some help. These things actually kind of like raise the vibration in our beings that kind of give us that space where we can say, you know what? This isn't about just me. There's so much more going on in the world. There's so much happening. I'm going to take this moment and get out of myself and come into the place of saying, yes, I'm ready for more. I'm ready to kind of like be a bigger person besides what my mind is saying. You know, when I say happiness is a choice, and when anyone says happiness is a choice, it is. It's like we get to choose what we create. We get to choose who we are. And in that moment of saying, I choose to take a step out of this, I take a step out of fear, take a step out of anxiety, take a step out of all this mind garbage and these ridiculous tapes that we have going on. We give ourselves a space to say, all right, I'm ending this. I'm going to put a pause on this sentence, and I'm going to get to move on, and I get to choose. I get to be in control. Control is not a great word, but you know, I get to be in charge.
So when we do that, and then how do we extend that to keep it, you know, to let it last, like throughout our day and get used to, you know.
We schedule it, as I said, just like you plan it. It's kind of like how sometimes, you know, resistance is a funny thing. It's like if feeling good sometimes is kind of like hard, because sometimes we get so, it's almost easier to feel depressed. It's almost easier to feel stressed out.
It's what we know.
Yes, it's what we know. It's what's constantly repeated. It's what's in it's on television every day. Our news has kind of like become this thing that has kind of like manifested in a way to just kind of like create anxiety and stress us out and like become fear-mongering. So
fear sells.
Fear sells, exactly. I like that. So when we give ourselves the space to say, I'm going to unplug. I'm going to kind of like find my space. I'm going to come into a place of saying, all right, this is who I am. We get to choose. We get to move forward. We get to break the pattern. So in scheduling kind of like those moments. So it's kind of like, you know, do you want to go to the gym in the morning? Do you want to take yoga? Do you want to create a space of meditation, setting intentions? I love setting intentions. Like we did a little bit of that earlier.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Thank you. So it's like, you know, like when you set an intention, you're actually kind of like setting up your day. You're setting up yourself to say, all right, this is how I want to see it move forward. And I know that the universe is going to come by and support me in this.
Yeah, you know, we have to remember that this is our life. And nobody's going to do it for us if we don't. So sometimes it's hard because you're like, oh, I get so busy. No excuses. If you really want to get happy and change your life, you really need to make the time for this.
Yeah, absolutely, and it doesn't have to be a doing. It's a beingness. It's a way of it becomes like a breath. We just become more joyful. We become more easeful. We become more allowing. And you know, we're human. You know, this is DNA and carbon atoms and all that kind of stuff. But so we're going to have our moments of fluctuating. We're going to fall off that mark every once in a while. We recognize when we do it, and we take a breath, and we come back, and we just say, all right, now I choose joy.
Okay, everybody take a nice big breath, because we are going to be back next week with Tony LeRoy as well. We're very excited, and thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.